Hey, kids. You're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
Prepare for the SML Podcast.
Howdy. Oh, my mic's muted. Yeah, I just saw I was muted. I was muted when I was watching wrestling with some people, so.
Is everything coming fine through here?
Yeah, you were louder before, but you just got quieter. You move away from the mic?
Yeah, I moved away a little bit, and I'm talking a little quieter.
Move a little closer.
Okay, better?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good
I'll
shit.
just lean over it and talk seductively into it. That works, whatever.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, Chris. How's it going? We're talking seductively.
Oh, I'm turning my
Hey,
volume
Jacob.
up seductively.
No, we're not going to continue that. No.
What are we continuing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Chris, what are we continuing?
Nothing.
I just got here.
You're
I don't
not
know.
Chris.
Huh?
Yeah, but I'll answer for him.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will. I just did, motherfucker.
No, you won't. You'll just speak out into the void, dumbass. Anyway, Chris, what were you saying?
I
Nothing.
was saying I just got here, so I have no idea what's going on.
See? Told you. Nothing.
Aki, shut up. So, Joe, what's going on?
Nothing.
These
Aki,
nuts
shut up.
on your chin.
Aki, shut up. Oh, sorry. Jump the gun there.
That's fair. That is fair.
And guess what? They don't know either. Whoever the hell just showed up, they don't know either.
That's right.
That's Brooke. Actually, she probably does know.
Actually,
Is it
no,
about-
she very well might.
Da-da-da-da.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's about that thing.
All right. Cool. Very dope. How y'all doing tonight?
Stressed.
Why
Extremely
are you-
stressed.
Hold on, why are you stressed?
Schedule's changed, and I don't like that.
Okay, so how has your schedule changed?
Well, I'm heading off to my grandparents' house,
Okay.
as I think I've established on here a few times. Were
If we
planning
listen.
on leaving either Thursday night or more likely Friday morning.
Sure.
We're leaving tomorrow morning,
Okay.
and I found out at 2.
Yeah, that's why Aki got
cool.
shifted to second. So that she could do hers and get going.
Cool. Sounds
Yeah, I have
good.
to
I'm
be
sorry
a-
you're dealing with that, dude.
Yeah, I don't like the change. I was not prepared for that. So I have to be up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning to be out.
Yeesh. That sucks.
Oh yeah, it does. But I managed to get Kindle working on my phone, so I'm going to read a lot
nice.
of smut because I share my mom's library, and that's like 90% of what she reads. So, there's that. I guess
I'm just waiting for Jacob to freak out about you saying library.
Nah, it's Aki. Not worth my energy. The only thing that she knows how to. The only thing that she knows how to read are Gunpla instructions, so like she's not going to actually use the library anyway.
I'm sure she reads plenty of erotica.
I do. I very much do. Most of it. I
Gunpla
don't
erotica.
like. I've read some of that too.
She inserted tab A into slot B.
Oh, very different type. No. There is a pretty massive community of BL lovers who just all they do is
BL.
Gundam people.
Hold on. What's BL?
Boy love, gay stuff.
Oh. No, man. I'm talking about like plastic model kits. I know that
Yeah,
shit.
no, that's
Hell,
why
that
I
was
said
going on
no.
back when I was in high
Wrong
school.
way.
No, there were girls in middle school who were like, oh my God, I have such a crush on Katra. Or Duo.
By the way, hi,
Yeah.
Pernell. How are you tonight?
Hi, Pernell.
Hello, I'm doing okay though. I also have to wake up at like 7, just like Aki. So this is going to be one of those. nights.
You guys
Uh,
realize like this
work,
is my average
baby.
this is my average Monday through Friday, right? And I've got 2 kids that I'm like legally responsible for.
The
Good for
funny
you.
thing, it should
Yeah,
be
but you
mine
also have a
too,
wife.
but
I don't.
that should be my life as well. And rather it was, I just was bucking and trending, slowly had them push my start time back minute after minute until it got to like 9 o'clock. But now I'm in a new job, and I got to wake up. And plus I got a dance appointment, which is the other reason I got to be up earlier than skip tooth on Black Friday. So
I hate the dentist, dude. Oh my God.
Well, for good reason. There's nothing great about them. I mean, they keep our teeth good, but at what cost? The money cost.
Cost of money.
Like $25 copay. I don't know. That's about it.
No. Sounds like you've only been getting freaking cleanings, man. And if you're paying that much for fillings and crowns and root canals, you got the best fucking dental insurance I have ever heard.
I mean, I also don't have I don't need to have all that stuff done yet.
That means
for you. You've never broke a tooth.
No, I haven't.
Would you like to change that?
You have a cavity?
Hockey can set you up.
He's gonna beat you with a
have
lead pipe.
Bat. We can change
I'm
that if you like.
How old are you, Jacob? That's my kink.
Wait, Jacob, how old are you?
I'm 38.
You're 38 years old. You never had a cavity, a chipped tooth, crown, and extraction.
Hold on. The only reason why I've had cavities is because my wisdom teeth were in for too long, and they got fixed when I got my wisdom teeth taken care of too.
Was that when you were a kid?
Jealous.
No, that was at the start of the pandemic, actually.
And that only cost you $25 copay?
I'll be honest, man. I was out for like a week on like pain meds. I literally don't know what it cost if I even paid.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they shook you down while you were high.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't remember a bill for it, so it may have just been covered by my dental insurance.
It was covered by dental.
Because I think what happened was because it was during the pandemic, and because like the pain was actually so intense, I was actually like becoming blind. Like I couldn't open up my eyes and stuff.
Oh, so they're probably one of your medical things.
I like Aki laughing at that. Oh my god.
The way you're describing
There's so much pain I couldn't see.
They might have covered that under your medical.
Maybe. I don't know. But
there are some dental.
I don't recall having to pay.
It was probably under medical because there are some dental issues or dental emergencies, we'll call them, that fall under medical because they are an impediment to your actual health.
Oh,
and that feels like it was an impediment to your health.
Yeah, and that's honestly the only reason why they were even able to see me too. Because at the time, like all of Pennsylvania was shut down, and they were like, "We can make a special case for you." So I got my wisdom teeth out. I bled everywhere for a day, and I drank soup for a week.
Did you have impacted wisdom teeth?
Yes.
Yeah, you got those from me. I had them on both sides. I had impacted wisdom teeth, and I just couldn't afford to get them messed with. Early 20s. This was a long time ago, back when we had Obamacare coming out. No, not even then. So this was like the year before that. So I signed up for like studies where they test pain medication, so I could get my wisdom teeth out for free. They actually paid me to take out my impacted wisdom teeth, but 5 people in 500 people get the placebo, and it's a blind study test. I got the placebo, so I paid for that surgery for sure. They made me tough it out for a few hours, and they gave me some hydrocodone, so it was fine. And then they keep you overnight. They watch you. It was weird. Any of y'all ever do medical study stuff to afford medical care when you were younger?
No. I thought about it, but yeah, I never had to, thankfully.
Word. I had brace. I put myself in braces early 20s as well, and then I had them for like a lot of my 20s. My teeth were messed up. So I had to get my impacted wisdom teeth out while I was in braces, or it would have messed up my whole shit again. So luckily, Austin, Texas had a medical study going for that in those years, so was able to knock that out. I don't even know what I would have done otherwise. It's like hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands without insurance. So nuts.
Yeah,
anyway, sorry to bring us down here. You're jogging my memory here.
It's not a bring down. It's relatable.
It's interesting.
Dental coverage sucks.
Yeah, now I have dental insurance through my job, but back then I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt like I hit the lottery when they started having the medical studies, and it's weird to think back gosh, that was probably 14 years ago, That's crazy.
Like you'll take this magical drug. Some of you will grow a second set of teeth. The other...
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Oh man.
I could use a new set.
Yeah, but Aki, what would you do with your fourth set of testicles?
Yeah.
Steve! No!
Smack you in the face with them, I guess? I don't know.
Nice. Hang him off the end of the truck.
Again, that's my kink, so whatever.
He got that from me too. No, I'm just playing. Sorry.
I thought it was about teeth, folks. We were talking about teeth.
Yeah, I'm just rolling with it. I don't actually know how we got here.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah. Chris, what's going on with you? How's things with you?
Oh, I don't know.
I figured we're not doing an intro. All this is staying, so I don't give a shit at this point.
All right.
You don't know. You know what's going on with you. You know what's going on with you.
I got a series of interesting, entertaining stories for you.
No. Let's hear them.
I don't have anything.
Oh,
son of a bitch.
Yes, you do.
Way to let us down, Chris. Jeez.
Yeah. Why do you think I don't talk much during the intros?
Don't listen to him. He's got something. He just went the extra mile and got another damn upgrade to his Switch memory card.
Oh yeah.
Y'all know anyone looking for a PS5 while you're buying stuff?
Don't change the topic. Go back to Chris's memory card. He got the 1.5 terabyte memory card for his freaking Switch, which means he has to move 1 terabyte of data.
I haven't re-downloaded anything, so
why don't you just do it on your computer? You can just copy it to your computer and then pop it in, it over to the new card, right?
No, I mean, I haven't re-downloaded anything. I had to delete to make room.
I thought you meant that you were re-downloading everything to the new card.
No. I tried that once. When I went from 400 to 1,000, and that took a long time. But also transferring it to your computer, I mean, to go to take 900 gigabytes from like a micro SD card to the computer was a 9-hour process, and then it took
global.
And then it took somewhere between 11 and 13 hours to put it onto the new card.
Jeez.
To write it. Yeah. So I had to it was just like an all day kind of thing. And, but yeah, there's a 1.5 terabyte in there. And so I'm good to go for another, I don't know, like
3 months.
Check right now, actually.
No, you're good until the next NBA game comes out and then it's full again.
I've got 496 gigabytes free. So I've already occupied quite a lot of space on this thing because I downloaded some games over the weekend. Actually, went kind of crazy this weekend with
Black Friday sales.
I guess so. But they weren't. It was just like I went to a store that we don't usually go to, so like I had to clean them out of all the stuff that they just had sitting around waiting for me. Because that's the way it is with me in games, is that there's always one that's just sitting around waiting for me specifically because I'm looking for it and nobody else is. I picked up a physical copy of Mon U, defeat monsters and gain strong weapons and armor. You may be defeated, but don't give up. Become stronger. And
hell yeah!
When the heroes defeat the Devil King.
I believe that there will be a time. Yeah, that was really good. I'm so happy.
Yeah. So I picked that one up.
Are you liking it? Or have you started it?
I haven't played it yet. I just got these, so they've just been sitting in front of my Super Nintendo.
Have you played any other experienced dungeon crawlers?
Dungeon crawlers. What am I working on right now? I think I'm still working on Savior of the Sapphire Wings.
In that case, yeah, you played experienced ones then. Yeah, you'll like this one, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a wizardry head, like from back in the day. So,
you're ready.
Not all the way back in the day. I wasn't gaming in the 70s, but I mean, like I've put in hours into those kind of games, and plus I'm an Etrian Odyssey fan, like for real.
Oh, I was more so like testing you on like how much you've played. I mean, that specific developer. But Sapphire Wings is experience, so
okay.
I think you'll like this too. It's just not as complicated as that one, but it's fun.
That's okay. I don't even care if a dungeon crawler is complicated. I mean, I grew up on Arcana on the Super Nintendo, and that one's pretty simple. I mean, it was made by the Kirby guys.
I thought you were about to say, I don't care if they're fun. I just want to play.
No, they're mostly fun, actually. I played a couple that weren't that fun, but yeah, it's hard to go wrong with a dungeon crawler because it's like whatever you do that other people would consider bad, a dungeon crawler fan would consider good. So either it's you make a game that appeals to a hardcore dungeon crawler fan, or you make a game that appeals to like everybody else. So that's kind of my philosophy on it. But But yeah, and then I just picked up stuff like that I've been meaning to grab, like Luigi's Mansion 3, which now completes my Luigi's Mansion collection, and someday I'll play one. I got Planescape Torment and Icewind Dale Enhanced Editions, which now completes my D&D collection. Someday I'll play them. That is to say, those, the Neverwinter Nights games, and the Baldur's Gates. I have all 3 of those now for the Switch.
They put Baldur's Gate on the Switch? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 on the Switch. Not 3 yet. I don't know.
I don't think 3 will ever work on the Switch.
I don't think you had to put yet on that.
But yeah, 1 and 2 are there.
Okay.
I really wish that they had on the Switch, speaking of those kind of games, just Diablo 1. Just the first Diablo. Like the PlayStation version with like controller interface. I loved that game when it was out. Do you remember, Danny? Did Daniel play the original Diablo, but on the PlayStation?
I didn't because
I don't think I was into.
Yeah, I never was into the Diablo games at the time.
I didn't play my first one until the second one, and by that point, I was playing the second one. So
I played the first one, and that was my first experience playing a video game with strangers over the internet. This is in the 90s, and I hated it. And I've never gone back.
How were you able to play it online on Diablo 1?
It had a Blizzard. What do they call it? I guess
Not
just Blizzard.net. Yeah. You said it. What was it?
On PS1 though?
No. I'm sorry. I also had it on the PC. Sorry.
Oh God. Okay, I was about to say. Wait a minute. I had my thoughts on when online gamings were doing back then, but that threw me for a loop.
I miss some important context. Yes, I also played it on PC, and I didn't like it as much. I liked the PS version better.
Oh, okay. That makes sense to me now. We're confusing each other. I blame winter coming.
Yeah,
I blame you being on speakerphone.
Nah, we'll just have to tolerate that till the show starts.
The show did start 20 minutes ago.
Show. It's leading. We're leading into the show. We know the deal. We know how to.
No, we're like literally about to start reviews in a minute.
Yeah, that's
apparently too much gunpla.
What she said. You know the deal. I'm a baby.
We can start talking about Gunpla, and then it just won't end up in the show.
Yeah, I'll edit that out. I'll edit.
Yeah, Joel. Joe will do the the extremely occasional edit.
Just for Gunpla.
Yeah,
I'm just like, well, let me tell a story about. Anyway, next thing to talk about tonight.
What you got about gun? What you got against Gunpla?
It's for nerds. It's not wrestling or football, so it's for nerds, and therefore he doesn't hear about it.
I hate to.
I am a nerd.
Spoil the mood here, but he covered it. Everybody in this damn chat's a nerd, and we all do nerd things. Ain't a cool.
We're on a fucking video game podcast. Of course, we're a bunch of fucking nerds.
Yeah, apparently Gunpla's just a step too far.
I don't know if y'all heard me earlier, but I said I'm a Wizardry fan from back in the day. Try and explain to me how that's nerdy.
It's not.
Aki, I wouldn't edit it out because it's nerdy. I would edit it out because it's boring.
Gunpla
isn't boring. Fuck you.
Gunpla's boring. At least
I'm not saying Gunpla's boring. I'm saying you are. I'm boring too, which is why I edit myself out all the time.
Pre-edit.
Okay, I can accept this then. That
works. God, if I could get rid of myself from this show, it would be so much better. Oh man!
Wait, that
would be funny to have a podcast. Yeah, a podcast with no host or with a ghost.
The funny thing is that almost happened one time because I started an episode with an interview and I was muted. But I was only muted on the recording, not on the actual chat. So everything that I said for the first 15 minutes of the interview was never picked up in the recording. So I had to go in, find out what was said or what the questions were, and I had to re-record myself asking questions that would lead into the answers that were given.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Such an opportunity to prank somebody too.
Oh man, that would be terrible. I did lose an interview because of some kind of recording glitch, and we had to redo it, and that's never fun. Like, yeah, we just did an hour-long interview. Sorry, man, it all got lost. Which is why I stream fucking everything now. Because if something goes wrong, I have a Twitch VOD I could download.
Yeah, Twitch doesn't miss anything except for most soundtracks.
Yeah.
I love randomly losing like 20-minute chunks of like my VODs because of, you know, some copyright strike on like a game nobody owns. So.
Oh, man. Well, we should probably talk about games that people might own with some reviews, you think?
I think we're talking about these for the people who don't own them yet.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully convince some people
We're going to try to change that.
Maybe buy a few games or ignore a few games. We'll see how things go, but...
Our mission, to collect Nickelodeon magazine. I mean, to get people to buy games. I've been thinking about the Nickelodeon magazine old commercials a lot, you guys. Y'all remember those?
That was a great, that was a great fucking magazine. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I really liked how they brought back like old cartoon strips from like the 1940s and 50s.
That magazine was lit.
I could practically, in Brooke's statement there, I could practically hear the knuckles cracking over the microphone. Like, we're about to change that.
We're just going to give up the video game angle on the podcast. We just watch Pete and Pete reruns and comment the whole time.
Okay, but seriously, I rewatched all of Pete and Pete when I was like 25, I want to say, and it holds up. And
it
it's so good. It's even better as an adult. Like Andy is just like an incredible character. I loved that. Yes,
you could get a couple of bucks for some issues of Nickelodeon magazine.
Ooh, really? I don't have any, but I remember reading it.
Going pretty much, but I don't know. Anyway, review. Should we get to these?
All right.
Okay, Jacob.
After my review of Pete and Pete, that's a buy it for me. It's a solid one.
Who's got it for sale?
Pete and Pete? I don't think anyone anymore. It was on DVD, but
the first two seasons were on. That's
probably find them on eBay.
Probably, and I know season 3. They said everything was done, and it was literally sitting in a warehouse. Like, so yeah.
Well, that's mighty strange.
Well,
a warehouse unreplayed. It's kind of sad though.
I was gonna say it's
we
sad.
Can't
not
watch
not
that
unusual.
Season yet. It's saddening. Oh no! None of you know Polaris. I hate everything.
I only know them from the opening song.
That was me mucking up the opening theme song, but
Well, you mucked it up pretty well. If I couldn't recognize it.
Damn right. It's rhythm.
I think that's the opposite of rhythm, actually, Pernell.
No, it is. It's fine. It's okay. You have to get it. Anyway, reviews or something before I start talking about more Pete and Pete.
Yeah, we don't need to be talking about nothing nostalgic up in here.
Yeah. First game to talk about tonight is Jurassic Park Classic Games Collection. Oh, man. Gotta love that timing. Let's dive into these. First game to talk about is Jurassic Park Classic Games Collection, developed and published by Limited Run Games. It released November 21st on Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $29.99. Hold on to your butts. The 8 and 16-bit era of Jurassic Park games is returned, commemorating 30 years of the iconic film. This release includes a lineup of 7 classic titles, updated to include save state support, new in-game maps, and various quality of life fixes. Chris and Jacob, both of you check this out. Who wants to start?
Honestly, I'd prefer Chris to start just because he's more of the historian.
I was gonna say I don't mind taking point. I could take point on some Jurassic Park.
Yeah, well, let's hear what's going on in the Jurassic Park Classic Games Collection.
Okay, so what we got here is a collection of Jurassic Park video games. So this covers basically the run of 8 and 16-bit games that came out around the release of the film. That is to say, there have been many more Jurassic Park games that have revisited this property since then. But we're specifically focusing on basically the was it 6 total? I don't know. I didn't even see. 7, 8, 7. Yeah. So 7 games. Which were originally we got the Nintendo games, which were originally developed by Ocean, whom you may remember as doing all the movie games back then, handling such hot properties as RoboCop and the Addams Family. And then you have Blue Sky Entertainment handling the, dare I say, superior Sega Genesis versions. And they are...
superior.
What?
It was Genesis was superior. I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whispering doesn't work well.
Yeah, I was gonna whispering on speakerphone. No,
I'm not on speakerphone. But I can go back.
Oh, I heard that. But yeah, Blue Sky Entertainment. Who cares what else they did? They did Ninja Golf. This is the Ninja Golf people.
Oh.
They did Ninja Golf, and they did the Genesis Jurassic Parks. God bless them. I wish they would come back. So yeah, these 7 games are lovingly packaged together by none other than Limited Run Games, and I'll just do a brief rundown of like the actual games that you're getting. So you have, so there's a little bit of trademark kind of futzing around. So the NES Jurassic Park, which is the first one that came out, is just called Jurassic Park 8-bit, and then the Game Boy version is called Jurassic Park Portable, and then Jurassic Park 16-bit, that'd be the Super Nintendo. And then also, so those are basically 3 treatments of the same game. Those are the top-down shooters where you are largely concerned with collecting eggs. They're like, oh, Tim is trapped by an army of Triceratops. You better collect 30 eggs and gather some key cards, Grant. And here's a bazooka. You won't be using it against the Triceratops, but yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it. And yeah, that's basically Jurassic Park on the NES, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo are variations on that theme. Of course, getting more and less technologically, fancy as they go. And then we have the Jurassic Park Genesis, which is I would, well, yeah, I hate to lead with it, but I'm gonna say this is probably the best one. This is the one that,
as a kid, I was like, that was the best game. As an adult, I'm like, this is still the best game in this collection.
I think so, but yeah, like it's still got its things, but like the one thing that's missing out of this versus the actual Genesis version, I'll just quickly say, is that it's missing the Sega logo because it doesn't say Sega, it just says Genesis. The Sega logo in the original game had the frickin' T-Rex come up and go, Sega! And then,
it would that would have been awesome.
Yeah, but they can't do that for this version because they can't talk about what the specific systems were, I guess, for, again, trademark
Well,
reasons.
I was going to say, they could call it, I think they could refer to it as Genesis, but they can't call it Sega Genesis.
Because thanks to the Bible, you can't trademark Genesis in quite the same way. So... And then, like I said, we have Jurassic Park 2, The Chaos Continues, both in 16-bit and portable flavors. Those are actually different games from each other, unlike the NES, SNES, and Game Boy games. But yeah, we'll talk about those in a minute. And then finally, we have Jurassic Park Rampage Edition on the Genesis, which is the later game that came out that sports a weirdly cel-shaded look. Because they like drew black outlines on all the sprites, unlike the other Genesis version. But it's very much just a sequel to the Genesis game, all the way down to letting you choose between Grant or the Raptor to play as. So Rampage Edition is like basically the sequel to the Genesis Jurassic Park. So that's what those are. And yeah, I'll let somebody else talk now.
Jacob, what do you think of the game lineup?
So I'm going to be honest with you. I was not really a fan of the Jurassic Park games when I was a kid. I thought the NES games sucked. I was not impressed by the Super NES when I was over at my friend's house. And the only time I ever wanted to play the Genesis one is if I was playing as the Raptor. Like, the Raptor is just really the best part. Because you run around killing everything instead of, playing as Grant, where it's a lot of avoidance and, swapping between weapons. The game.
Can I just notice you have a habit of requesting games and then you get them and you're like, well, when I was a kid, I didn't like this.
Well, Yeah, because I want to go back and see whether it was just like, oh, did I just suck as a kid, or was it just, or was the game just bad? Sometimes it's worth revisiting this stuff. They're like 20, 30 years later, in my opinion. I do the same with movies. Like if there's a movie I thought really freaking sucked, I'm willing to go back like 10 years or 10 years later and watch it again and see if my opinions changed on it at all. But yeah, I do the same with video games. So Chris gave a pretty good rundown of the various games. And I think it's kind of interesting with these because even though they're definitely tied in with the Jurassic Park movie, they really have almost nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd say that they're more closely tied in with the book. And that may be what the game creators had access to at the time.
Because a couple of these, definitely the development cycles predate the movie's release. And of course, we know the book was written at the same time that the movie was being made. So like they all kind of... Was it not? I thought that Michael Crichton had to... No, that was The Lost World, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, not even then.
Huh. No, well, never mind then.
Or wait, Lost World just came about because Michael Crichton was like, oh, that made me lots of money. I think I can do it again. And Hollywood was also like, yes, we think it will make us lots of money again. Let's all do it.
Let's do it together.
Jurassic Park, the book came out in, I think, 89, 90, if I remember correctly.
I see, okay. I'm thinking of a story having to do with The Lost World, so, yeah.
Yeah, and Lost World, the book, also heavily deviates from it. But, so anyways, it's more so that it seems like they had access to the book more so than movie materials. And so, if you're playing these for the first time, understand that it deviates a lot, and on top of it, they're just not good. Like I was playing through and part of it I think may actually just be on limited run games themselves. Like with this, I mean, is it cool that we got a retro collection with a bunch of the Jurassic Park games from back in the day? Yeah, that's totally awesome. I would have killed to have the Genesis JP game back on, like the 360 as an Xbox Live Arcade title back in the day. And it's cool that I'm able to share these with my kids, but that's literally all I'm able to share with the kids. Like if you go into the game, unlike stuff that you see from like Digital Eclipse and a couple of other companies who have started bringing back games from the 80s and 90s, those kind of games, you end up with like almost like a complete archive of everything related to the game. Like there's design docs, there's interviews, there's commentaries, there's the original game manuals if you want to flip through them. This is literally
no manuals in this one.
There's literally nothing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I had to constantly test and figure out stuff and then look it up online. There's no they don't even provide you with a button layout for this game. You're just like, all right, well, have at it.
You want a CRT filter though, or one border.
Yeah, as a whole for the collection, I am not pleased with the games themselves. I'm going to be honest with you. Your mileage may vary, or your mileage will vary on this. You're either going to be super psyched, or you're going to be like, "Wow, these games were not good." Honestly, Jurassic Park 2 on Game Boy, I was really enjoying the heck out of that, but it's clearly based on something else in terms of a shooter game. I don't know if it's a reskin or what. I'd actually be interested in finding that out, but I was doing great in that game. And the rest of them, it's just, I don't know.
Chris, what are your thoughts on the games?
just cut them off. I think there is some stuff to love about the Jurassic Park games. One thing that I will say about the non-canon non-ness of them is that's just ocean, man. I mean, as far as the Nintendo ones go, which again they do deviate quite a lot from from the original properties. By the way, I'll get to how the Blue Sky ones actually are weirdly stayed true to it. With the top-down shooters and like the Game Boy games and stuff like that, it's just like, if you played Ocean games a lot as a kid, which, if you frequented the Blockbuster, you probably ran across a few of their movie license games and things like that back then. A lot of them were like kind of this run and gun situation, or just kind of taking game characters and making a thing out of it. I don't know what the Jurassic Park 2 on Game Boy is based on, but it kind of
I think it's just a straight up like, we're making another Jurassic Park game. Like,
yeah, but it's like literally like a side-scrolling shooter. Like it's a a running gun. It doesn't have like egg collecting or anything like that.
Yeah.
But then the Jurassic Park 2, The Chaos Continues on SNES has a fully voice-acted cutscene intro. It's like, it's kind of weirdly cartoony. Like the drawing doesn't look great to me, but I mean, like, it's got voice acting that speaks in sentences. It's got two players on the same screen.
I'm not gonna lie, I was real curious about the that intro, and of course, like, that's another thing that like upset me about like the whole. Well, no, that's part of that's always been part of the Jurassic Park lore. That's who Dodgson works for, the guy who hires Nedry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he's from Biosyn. Like,
yeah, I know. I was just saying the name because I like it.
Oh, sorry. I thought you. Okay, sorry. I thought you were saying it like they made it up.
No.
But like in the like with the lack of archival materials, I'd love to know like what the heck was this? Like, was this supposed to be something more? Like, was there supposed to have been like was this like something that had been created for the canceled Jurassic Park cartoon show at the time? Like,
I gotta
won't
throw
know
in
because there's no archival material with the game.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is where my point is going to come in. Are we fair to judge a game for what it's not compared to what it is, or like other companies have, like we mentioned, Digital Eclipse. They do a lot of archival material and interviews and stuff like that. Should we expect that from every company going forward?
I mean, if you're going to put a premium on this kind of stuff like Limited Run does, then yes. If
I don't think 7 games at $30 is a premium, though.
I'm talking like with all the physical editions and stuff like that, too.
That's physical collections. We're talking about the game for $30.
I know, but again, like Digital Eclipse also releases stuff at the same price point. Like,
again, that's why I'm asking. Are we? Is it right to compare the companies for what one does and what one doesn't? I'm asking your opinion here. You guys are the reviewers. I'm just talking.
Opinion, then yes, absolutely. Then yeah, like if it's just gonna be like a bare bones. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I could even be like, all right, yeah, they didn't explain anything, but you didn't even include a fucking manual in your game. Like, come on. Like,
yeah,
$5 Radalika games include like little things telling you what the buttons do. Like, this one couldn't even do that. Like, this is
some of the games have it in the option menus, but yeah, that's because it's in the game itself, But yeah, I would say I do agree with that to a point that that even compared to like much less priced games, like these really do have kind of a minimum, like bare minimum of extra like things, like kind of tying them together. Like I said, you have one CRT filter or LCD if it's a Game Boy game. You have a music player in multiple languages, which is kind of cool. Actually, the music does kind of rule, especially on the Game Boy ones.
If you go up on Limited Run's website, you can actually buy soundtrack LPs.
Nice.
So
I don't do that, but that's cool. I mean, paying $40 for a video game soundtrack on vinyl seems, I don't know, that's a hobby I can't get into because I cannot or will not. But yeah, what I was gonna say, yeah, there really are like some kind of like, missed opportunities here as far as having something. Like I said, it literally got save state, load state, one border, which is the Jurassic Park sunset, one CRT filter, 2 options of screen size that's native or full, and then show the in-game map, which you can kind of look at. And scroll around and stuff separate from the game. Like it's not displayed on like the corner or anything like that. It's just show in-game map and it'll show you the in-game map. So, I feel like it really is kind of, this is a collection of 7 games. That's what they're asking the money for. And by the way, you can save state.
Well, we gotta talk price. It is $30. You're getting 7 games out of this. What are your verdicts?
I give it a try it.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a buy it for Jurassic Park fans. And I think that these are worthwhile games to like play, like, because they do have a lot of really interesting things in them. Like if you're interested in retro games, I think there's a lot that was overlooked in these going on, like especially in those like kind of later ones. You really had a lot of cool stuff in there. Besides just the fact that, it's once again, Grant has to restore power to the island and escape somehow. Like it's literally that times 7. Well, I guess except for the Chaos Continues, that's a little bit different because you got Biosyn and as the evil monster you have to fight. And you're told not to harm any of the expensive animals, except for the T-Rex. They hate that T-Rex. But I'm gonna say it's a buy it for fans of that kind of thing. The retro curious who didn't collect these back in the day. Like the emulation is fine on it. Rewind and save states and stuff is beneficial for folks who don't like the difficulty, but you will be kind of left hanging for things like a guide or anything like that, or any kind of like history lessons or anything, which I'm not particularly like needing in a thing like this, especially for that price. So just for the fact that it's half the price of a full price single game nowadays, I'm like, okay, that's fine. That puts it in buy it territory for me. Everyone else, I mean, you're not going to find these a la carte or anything. So, it's a try it if you want to like play that Genesis game again, but without the cool intro.
I mean, I will agree with that. If you're a big Jurassic Park fan, then yeah, this is definitely a buy it, but I'm still holding with my try it on this. They included like all the stuff that I'm just like, where's all like the archival material, I would have been like, hell yeah, let's pay $60 for this. Like it's a real shame it's not included.
I call that, I just call that a missed opportunity. Like they could have really made this really special, but I mean, that's fine. It's 7 games for $30. That's cool.
Cool. All right. Well, Jacob, that is it for you. We will let you get going.
Woo!
You're free.
Yay.
The electricity has been turned off of the paddock.
What are you up to tonight? Or did he leave already? I don't know. He's still
here.
No, I'm still here. I mean, I've got that surfer game to play and something else, and otherwise I'm just going to play Dreamlight Valley. You know how it would be.
Sweet. I'm thinking about finally getting that, dude. I really want to try it.
Well, dude, get it before December 5th.
Oh, is it on sale right now?
Joe.
Actually, it is on sale on Xbox.
Nice. Okay. Can we play together if I get it on Xbox?
Oh, eventually. Sweet. They are introducing multiplayer to it eventually.
Oh, hell yeah. All right.
Is it a Series X only game?
Is what?
Is it a Series X only game?
That I don't know. I've only played it on a Series X, but that's because it's only been out while I've had a Series X.
It is on Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC on the Microsoft side, so you could play it wherever.
I might play
one of those good old play anywhere titles.
Aki and I are going to play together.
You know what? Sure, fine. Why not?
Ooh, exciting!
Yeah, I have until late February. I have nothing to do during these 3 months. Fuck it. Yeah, let's play.
All right, guys.
All right, Jacob. Have a good one. Moving on, next game to talk about is The Walking Dead Destinies, developed by Flux Games, published by GameMill Entertainment. Released November 17th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, and PS5 for $49.99. Begin your journey as Rick Grimes, waking alone in a hospital surrounded by the dead. Assemble allies and fight your way through the Walker apocalypse across iconic locations from The Walking Dead, including Atlanta, the Green family farm, the prison, and Woodbury. In crucial choice-driven moments, you'll forever shape the destiny of your team of characters from the series. Aki, let's shoot straight and honest. This game has a bad reputation. Is it warranted?
I don't know what the bad reputation was for. I never actually looked at it. I just know it has a really bad one. Yeah. Do you know what the bad reputation was for?
The visuals, the voice acting, the controls, the gameplay. People don't like much about the game at all, and they're calling it one of the worst of the year.
It's not the best game I've played, that's for sure. I don't think it deserves quite all the hate. Some of it is very valid. Visually, it is not a particularly good-looking game. It is very dated. I wouldn't be shocked if this had come on like the Xbox 360, to be honest. So it's not particularly good-looking. That doesn't bother me a great deal, personally. The voice actors are people, a majority of them, they tried to get people who could mimic the proper actors from the TV show. Not all of them can do that, even remotely. Like Glenn's character, it sounds nothing like Glenn at all. It's pretty god-awful. But like the guy that they had that was playing Shane, I wouldn't have realized that wasn't the original actor. Because he did really good. Rick, the one who played Rick Grimes, was okay. Lots of the other characters were questionable at best. But that doesn't shock me. It's not like they were going to get the original cast in. That just wasn't going to happen. Combat-wise, it's okay. It's not great. It's very stiff, and you have two forms of combat in this game. There's melee, and then there's shooting, and the shooting is kind of shit, to be honest. It's just not very good. You get a reticule on the screen, and it snaps to enemies. It's very generous at that, because once enemies get within like 5 feet of your character, good luck shooting them anymore, because it can't handle that, which is bad. Melee combat isn't too bad. It's really simplistic, except for every time you tap that button to hit, it's going to hit. And it's going to take a couple seconds between you pushing that button and it happening. So if you accidentally hit 3 times, well, you're going to hit 3 times, even if you only needed 2. And I forgot what the other part was. So it's kind of warranted. I don't think this is one of the worst games. Like, people are saying this is worse than Golem. It isn't, period. It's really not. They're saying it's worse than that King Kong Skull Island, which is also...
Still want to play that one.
From them. It's not worse than that. I have trouble imagining anything's worse than that King Kong game. Just in general, period. So yeah, it's not a good game, but it's not bad either. You have to be able to deal with some of the poor performance of it in order to like it. If you can't get past that, you're gonna fucking hate this game. This goes through the basic story of the first, I believe, 4 seasons of the show. It gets up to the point where you deal with the mayor, which I believe was the start of season 4. And through it, you get to make decisions, which can drastically change. Well, it doesn't change the outcome of everything that happens, but it changes who's around. And lots of them are proper choices that were made in the actual show. Like, for instance, you get to choose who gets to lead everybody, Shane or Rick Grimes. And everyone knows the famous scene.
No, your mic is getting really noisy. Is something going on over there?
No. Maybe it was touching something metal. Is it better now?
No, it's like really hissy.
Better?
I can't tell because you're not talking.
No, well, I don't really have anything I can do, sadly.
Try unplugging it and plugging it back in quick.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Did it work?
I think that fixed it a bit.
Okay, cool. Like everyone knows the part where Shane and Rick decide who gets to lead the group. I'm sure everyone's very familiar with that part if you've seen the show. you get to decide who gets to lead them. And that changes some story points later on, but obviously it very drastically changes which one of them is still moving around. And there's points like in the TV show, Lori dies to some zombies, and I don't care about spoilers because the show was like over a decade ago. If you haven't watched
that was a bunch of seasons ago. If you didn't know that, come on.
Yeah, you can save her. But every one of your choices comes at the cost of someone else. So if you save her, someone else is going to end up dying who otherwise would have survived through the show. There's only one choice in there that wasn't actually in the show. And ironically, it's the very last choice in the game. So I'm not going to bring it up.
Yeah, don't spoil that.
But yeah, you get to make one basically in every chapter. I think in chapter 2 or 3, you get to make 2 of them because one of the choices is who's going to lead. But like one of the first choices is, do you handcuff Merle or not? And that dictates whether Merle or T-Dog is in your group from that point forward. Because obviously, one of them gets pissed off, and it's just which one gets pissed off, so which one stays with you. So yeah, it's pretty interesting in that aspect. I did enjoy that. I personally made most of the same choices that were made in the TV show just because those seemed like the better choices, honestly. So, and yeah, I really liked that concept. So you could have this where Rick is gone by the end, and instead Shane is just kicking all the ass and being the piece of shit that Shane is. So, that's really cool.
It sounds to me like it's something that was good in idea, but really came up short in execution.
Very much so. I think this could have stood to one. It really, really, really needs just better graphics because it kind of looks like shit, which is sad. And like zombies, there's like 4. That's it. There's 4. That's all. And I don't
in the whole game.
No. There's like 4. You'll be killing the same like 4 or 5 zombies the entire game.
Lord.
And there's 2, technically 3 types. There's a big one. There's one without legs that you can turn any of the normal ones into, and normal ones, and that's it. It's like, So it leaves a lot to be desired. I think this really should have had more time, more funding, because this apparently didn't get very much funding or time. I think this was made in exactly a year, or just under a year, is all the time that the dev
what
had.
I've been hearing too. That GameMill needs to leave these games cook a little longer. This and Kong coming out so close to each other, like. I know their DreamWorks kart racing was pretty decent. Nick All-Stars Brawl was pretty decent, but they have, between this and Kong, people are talking like 2 of the worst games of the year from the same publisher, and that's kind of worrying.
Yeah, and
especially at a $50 price tag. I got to know, in your eyes, at $50, what are your thoughts?
I can't recommend it at $50. If you get it on like a half off sale, sure, I think it's worth a good $20-$25. Yeah, it's a decent game. It'll run you maybe 15 hours at max. To run through it twice probably, just so you can see all the different choices. You can get all the achievements in one single playthrough. That's what I did. It's not that hard to do. There's achievements for doing specific stuff in various levels, and it tells you what level and everything. So it's very nice. And yeah, I enjoyed it, but at $50, no chance in hell. But at a sale, I think lots of people, especially if you like the show or haven't seen the show, I think you could probably get a kick out of this because it does tell you basically what happened to the first 3 seasons and the start of the 4th pretty succinctly, because that's about as far into the show as I actually got, because I binged all of it and then got real tired of it at that point. So I recognized almost everything that happened, and it tells you a pretty good, solid story of it. So yeah, just not at $50.
I dropped off the show when Negan appeared, and the big thing, obviously spoilers, he kills Glenn. Like everyone knew that was coming, but he killed someone else. And the problem with that was that they had the cliffhanger ending where they didn't show who died for months. And then the episode started and they didn't show who died. And they made you sit and wait. That was the last episode I watched.
I think that was season 6 or 7, I think.
Something like that. I went through a lot of shit with that show, but they didn't value my time as a viewer with that. God, no. And I gave up.
Yeah, this game ends right after they lose the prison. They lose the prison, and that is the very last chapter of this game. So you've from where you've watched it, you've seen everything in this game. And yeah, I liked it. I actually had plenty of fun with it, but it's not worth $50. No.
All right. Well, that is it for you, Aki. We will let you get going so you can go on your road trip tomorrow. Have safe travels, and maybe we'll see you next episode.
Good luck, Aki. Be
not
safe.
Likely. I might be in like the typing chat area, maybe, because I do have 5G on my phone. So hopefully I can at least be in there, but I will not be on the actual show. Because I definitely will not be at their house at that point, because it's a 3-day drive.
Yay.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, we might record something with you, so you never know. You might be on the next episode.
Yeah, it'll just be later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Do you have any final words?
Gunplay is awesome, and fuck any of you who disagree.
All right, next up is Steam. Next up, we just got a sub from Burger Thing. Thank you for the 5th month sub. Thanks to
also,
Jacob. He dropped the sub earlier.
Name. Thank you.
Burger Thing is a great name.
Burger Thing is dope, dude. From one McDonald's goth to Burger Thing. Respect to you, my friend.
All right. Now, next up, SteamWorld Build, developed by The Station and Thunderful Development, published by Thunderful Publishing, released December 1st on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $29.99. In SteamWorld Build, you must escape a dying planet by building a mining town to dig up vital, long-lost technology. Meet the ever-growing needs of your citizens, trade resources, and defend your mine from the creatures that lurk below. Pernell, tell us about your time with SteamWorld Build.
So, SteamWorld Build is a continuation of the SteamWorld franchise. Many people might know of it from like SteamWorld Heist and SteamWorld Dig, my favorite personally. And what was it, SteamWorld Quest, which I never got a chance to do much with. But SteamWorld Build is this developer's take on the city builder genre. And honestly, I do feel as though they may have a little something here, though, because it does feel slightly different from what I'm used to in this genre, but some might also find it to be maybe not taxing enough. I don't know. But
you know what I do know, though?
I don't know.
That Trash Rando just dropped a sub for the 12th month. Trash Rando, thank you so much for hanging out.
1 year, baby.
It is a whole year of just
Happy
bad decisions.
So Rando. That's what it was.
Thank you, Trash Rando. Love seeing you here. Pernell, as you were saying about SteamWorld Build.
So, Trash Rando should get this game. No, I'm stop. So, basically, this is their take on the city builder. And the idea behind it is, like you said, I only did the story mode. I didn't mess with anything beyond that. But it does follow what you were describing. Robots trying to get off of a dying world, and they were given advice by something referred to as the core that they can mine within the ground to find parts of a rocket that they can use to ultimately escape. So your premise, or rather your ultimate goal in the game, is to get to this rocket and get the components for it, and then pretty much use it to escape. Also, you got to put some fuel in it too. Basically, just one more added level of intricacy to the escapades. But you don't just get work done without a bit of elbow grease, and the elbow grease comes in the form of worker bots. So, worker bots need a place to live, which is where the build of the city building comes into play. Because You choose from one of 5 different maps, and each of those maps just kind of give you a different, environment to work under, slightly different conditions, so to speak. And then once you've chosen one, bam, you have to begin. The game primarily builds around putting down residencies, and the residencies are where the worker robots will live. Once you've built them, the worker robots will have a request for resources, per se. Like they might want access to water, which means you need to have a cactus farm built to provide them with that. They might want access to what would be the equivalent of a robot hospital, so a repair bay. So you got to build one of those nearby too, and a few other resources. You build these things adjacent to roads that are connecting the buildings together so that they can get access to these facilities. So let's say I build, 10 residences along a road, and I build a general store and a repair bay at the top of the road. It might only reach 7 or 8 of those homes because it's based on how much of a distance along a road, whether it winds or goes straight, a building can cover. So you need to make sure that when you put these facilities down to accommodate your residents, they reach as much of those residents as possible. So that's the simple part of it, because once you've done that, now you might also need to get more resources as well to accommodate building new facilities. So to do that, for example, you might want to get some lumber. Lumber needs to be made by producing a lumber yard, which needs to be built on fertile soil specifically. So you choose fertile soil, lay it down, and then that needs to be processed into either kindle like charcoal or lumber. So there's a whole process and order of operations where you have to produce different things from different things, all of which are stored in warehouses, which you also need to build. And then they can get distributed to the people in the town and then turn make them happy. If they are happy, they will pay you money in the form of like income tax or just taxes. That money can be used to, you guessed it, build more things. Keep people happy, get more money, build more things. But then eventually you reach a point where workers aren't enough. You need to do work that can only be done by an engineer. How do you get an engineer? By upgrading happy workers. Because one thing about this game that I do like, and I'm sure other city builders do something like this, but I don't recall any because I don't get to play a ton of these that involve people as opposed to facilities. If you have people or workers that are happy and satisfied enough, you can upgrade them to the next level. The benefit to that is that they have expanded capabilities. The downside to that is they have different needs. Once you get engineers, for example, engineers need to get drunk, so they want moonshine, which means now those cactus farms that have been producing water up until this point need to have some sort of add-on that can be used to produce moonshine. So now your water isn't just being used to fulfill worker needs, but now the water is being used in the moonshine distillery to produce moonshine for the engineers. So if you don't produce stuff in enough frequency and enough of a capacity, you might come up with a bottleneck where you're not getting resources quickly enough to fulfill people's needs. You could also do things like improve the road quality so that things get from place to place faster. I've been rambling a lot, but that just means to go to show you that there's a lot of intricacies that go into like the construction of facilities and making sure that people are getting the accommodations that they need. If you find yourself in a situation, however, where you might feel as though your resources are a little tight or you're not producing things quickly enough, there is also a trade function in the form of a train that comes through town on occasion. When that train comes through, it will release a series of items you can buy in addition to items that can be traded for with things you have. So the aforementioned cactuses that you feel as though you're kind of lacking on, well, if you have to be sitting on a ton of lumber or a bucket full of money, you can just flat out say, I want to buy all the units of cactus you've got on hand, usually about 1,000 or so. And you can just buy it. Of course, you don't want to do that specifically all the time because that's inefficient, but it can get you out of a pinch when you find yourself lacking in a certain resource or whatever. And the funny thing about this is that I'm primarily just describing the first layer of this game because also unlike a lot of other city builders, this game is multi-layer and a level that I haven't really discussed since playing SimCity 3000 when they introduced plumbing. You go underground in this game too. So everything being done above ground is meant to make the workers happy and the town thrive and function. But then eventually, once you go underground, you start transporting individuals like engineers and worker droids down there, and you produce facilities to house another group of worker types like miners and guards And what you end up doing with that is you use these people to now mine underground for more resources like gold nuggets and toolkits. And then you can use those things to do things both above ground and below ground. And you have to kind of do extra elements of protection for your workers on the ground because you can deal with cave-ins. You got to put pillars up if you mine haphazardly to produce, huge alcoves without support. You got to put pillars down. You got to put facilities down for these new workers. And then sometimes, eventually, you'll start to get attacked by enemies underground. But this isn't an action game, so you're not going to have to worry about, doing any crazy shooting or nothing. But you do need to have guard robots on hand, along with turrets you can have built once you have the proper facilities, and they can defend your miner doors so they can continue doing their jobs. And the odd thing about it, I described a lot of stuff. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I was able to explain it in a way that made sense because there's a lot of crap here. But the funniest thing of all is that, at least on the difficulty I played on, which was normal mode, the game is actually pretty stress-free, too. Like, it gets to the point where you might be like, oh, man, I'm not getting people what they want. But it's not too hard to see, icons that say, these people aren't satisfied. You can scroll over to that building, see the icon that displays what they're missing, and just ensure that they start getting the thing they want. If you know you're producing it, but somehow they just aren't getting it, that means you're underproducing it. You need to produce more of it. And it just fuels a flow of build, satisfy, upgrade, build, satisfy, upgrade, eventually go underground, build, satisfy, upgrade, mine, go further down. Oh crap, jerk bags, defend, mine. And you keep going. But it's Zen-ish. It's very Zen-ish. And I do feel as though it fills the niche that I would expect from a SteamWorld game by making something accessible by way of using their, their well-cultured thematics and, franchise naming or franchise that they've built up to introduce people to this gameplay type. But I also feel as though if you have been playing these games for a while, there's still something for you to like in this element too. And I do apologize if I sound kind of flimmy or whatever. I'm definitely under the weather right now, but
I think we all are. Tis the season and shit's just going around anymore.
Yeah.
I think I got hit on the Black Friday crap. I went out on the weekend, came back on Sunday. Next thing I was like, oh boy, I feel it coming on. Woke up on Monday morning. Wow, my brain's still on my pillow. I need to pick that back up. And It's been like that ever since. But I'm getting better. I've gotten a lot better. I'm down to just the flimminess now, whereas before I had a freaking full-on migraine. But I'll take what I can get. But enough about me. What am I thinking about SteamWorld Build? Yes, I think the game is good. I had a good time playing it.
I have a question for you about the game. As someone who's not really a fan of simulator, like building games, town building, does this game offer anything to me, or should I just check out of this one?
I'll be honest with you. I would say probably the checking out then, because this is a city builder with the difference being that it's more about, it just gives you this cool element of now it's being done with these robots and these characterized robots. With that said, though, I guess one thing that I might say might feel a little different about this compared to other city builders that I have played is that the majority of the needs come down to the individual robot types, whereas a lot of city builders I've played, you got to deal with taxes, and you got to deal with city property codes and mess like that, making sure everything's adhering to standards. This game, you're basically saying, can my engineers get drunk? Are my philanthropist robots, get what they want? Are the scientists getting what they want? And you can really get to the point. Oh, one other thing I should mention that's probably different from other city builders is that this game is very, relaxed when it comes to righting wrongs and mistakes in your layout. Let's say, for example, you've built up an entire district of workers. The workers are doing what they want, but now you're getting to the point where you start getting new levels of characters. You're going to the engineer level. And the way you operate, you like to have miners over here, engineers over here, because it's just easier for you to maintain who's doing what until you need to eventually upgrade some people. You can literally just pick up a building and move it. As long as you have a road, you can just lift the building and move it somewhere else with no penalty. Now, obviously, if you put it down somewhere where it can't be provided for, you made a mistake then, and it's not going to work out well for you. But I have had moments where I've shuffled buildings around to get what I wanted, and it's been very nice. You cannot do that in a normal city builder. You have to destroy the whole damn building, You mean you lost money, you lost resources, and then you got to build it again somewhere else. I feel like that aspect alone makes this a lot less tedious than some other games of this type. It's easier to fix mistakes. Also, at least on the difficulty I'm playing on, if you destroy a building, you pretty much get the money back. So
that's good.
Like,
I want to know what else is good about this game.
Somebody sub?
No, about the game.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass. Ah, gotcha. You didn't think I knew.
If people aren't too sure about if they want to give the game a go, they could always download it on Game Pass, give it a try. But for the people who have $30, is this game worth the 30?
I do think it is. I mean, it shouldn't surprise most people. I mean, most people. You people don't know me. Y'all don't know me. I'm a sucker for SteamWorld games. I generally sock down cash for them, sight unseen, and have yet to be disappointed. This is another example where I don't feel disappointed in the game, and I do feel as though it is worth the cost they're asking for.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Next up is Calico, developed by Peachy Games, published by Whitethorn Games, released November 28th on PS4 and PS5 for $11.99. Calico is a day-in-the-life community sim game where you're given an important and adorable task. Rebuild the town's cat cafe and fill it with cute and cuddly creatures. Build up your cafe by filling it with cute furniture, fun decorations, yummy pastries, and get it bustling with animals again. Brooke, tell us about your time with Calico.
Oh man, I didn't expect this game to be this good. I had a really, really great time in Calico. And I'm definitely going to be continuing to play it post-review. So that's a buy it from me. Yep. Will be a bite quite for everyone, even the cozy gamers it targets. But for this review, if you're a cozy gamer who likes the aesthetic of this game and likes the sound of what Joe read to us above, but you've seen gameplay trailers and think graphically and mechanics wise this game maybe isn't your cup of tea, maybe looks a tiny bit sloppy or unfinished, I am going to try to talk you into getting this and giving it a try anyway. So listen up while I first talk about the things that this game is doing super right, and in most cases, arguably, unlike any other game, frankly. I'm talking original, I'm talking unique.
Unique.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. If you've seen the cover for this game or any gameplay for it, even just screenshots, you probably already know this game has got mad style. And it's not only got a wide breadth of style, but also cohesiveness to it, even though, as in any good decorating game, there's a lot of different styles going on within the game to give you a lot of customization. So let's talk style, art, aesthetics. Absolute A+ for me for vision and execution of style, which for me is different than, let's say execution of graphics and programming and mechanics, which we will talk about more in a minute. That's separate from this for me. Basically, the vision for this game, artistically and aesthetically, is super on point. And the concept of what this game wants to do artistically is really, really well realized here. I don't actually know whether the designers of this game are actually the artists and the programmers for it themselves. The people who had the concept for the art in this game, if they're the ones actually drawing it in the game, should have looked that up. But this game is so cohesive stylistically to me, and it just feels like such a strong vision that I would either assume they are, or they got really lucky with their artists truly understanding what they wanted to do here, and they were just super duper aligned on dream and vision here. I'm talking clothes you wear, characters you meet with, plants, animals, the world itself, which is full of pink trees in the first area you start in.
Saying the game was made by 2 people. So
that's amazing. That makes a lot of sense, and it's going to make my review make a lot of sense later. This is truly a masterpiece, so I probably should have looked that up before I started this, but I also like to blindly speculate and just give my take as well. So that's cool. You know, I like kind of not knowing that, but being very impressed by that in this moment. But plants, animals, food you cook, furniture, different parts of the world, it all looks wonderful. And it's not just cutesy stuff. Let's talk just about people you might meet, your neighbors in this game. You're going to meet, this is why I picked this game up from Joe, plenty of thick, sexy, big titty goth GFs with all kinds of pastel and non-pastel. I'm serious. Look this up now. Honestly, Aki needs to be hearing this review, but I wasn't going to whine about it too hard when I heard what she had going on. I'm thinking about buying her this game, though. Yeah, non-pastel anime hairstyles, pastel anime hairstyles, also different culturally inclusive hairstyles. Your hair can have a gradient of 2 colors. Those colors can definitely be teal and purple and sparkly and junk. Character creation isn't overwhelming, but it's got way more options than I expected. Customization is a cornerstone of this game from start to finish for real. There's all kinds of cute and sexy and punk and goth clothes going on. We got fishnets. We've also got like a cottagecore, flowy skirts and apron vibe going on. But we've also got fairycore, which I didn't know was a thing before I played this game. Basically, if fan art of Sailor Scouts were to pop up in the illustration that goes with the Lo-Fi Study playlist on YouTube, y'all know what I'm talking about. And the Sailor Scouts were dressed in like 90s clothes and also modern Korean streetwear clothes, goth stuff, alternative stuff, maybe some lace. You might see a girl wearing some fairy wings and thigh highs. You might see a girl in a crop top hoodie with a custom strawberry print on it, or maybe even an upside down pentagram in the shape of a heart. So many clothes and customization options in this game. You can meet those girls, you can be those girls. Or guys, which brings me to my next thing I want to talk about that this game absolutely slays. Inclusivity. This is definitely LGBTQ community friendly and then some. You may have noticed the description Joe read for us for the game here. You will journey to a small village filled with magical girls and other fantastical friends. Yeah, that's accurate. I've met one person in town so far who isn't a cute and hot and stylish magical girl yet, and it was a cute, hot, stylish magical girl's dad who lives with her and helps her on the farm. So far, that's the only guy I've seen here. There's definitely queer characters in the game, arguably maybe all of them, but we also don't spend very much time putting labels on folks, which is nice too. But yeah, when it comes to inclusivity and representation, this game is the real deal. It's not phoning it in. And as much as I appreciate games like Rune Factory and Stardew letting you date whoever and just not making you make choices there based on characters' preferences, NPCs' preferences themselves, this game is bringing us some very real and specific representation that isn't just date who you want, but also many characters are really representing queerness here. Playability, it's great. I'm going to talk a bit more about that and accessibility. Music sound effects, really great. I love the different music that happens when you're crafting, when you're cooking, when you're exploring different parts of the world. As you open up different areas, different music will be unlocked as well. Story, we got a pretty good story here for a cozy game, especially at this price point. But the main overarching story isn't super, super long. This isn't like a 70-hour story. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anything. But I also want to mention that as you go through the story and main quests, more and more of the world physically is going to unlock, opening up a lot more open-ended, exploratory, farmy gameplay as you go to get just delightfully distracted with. Now, why did I take this game when Joe offered it to me? I started checking it out. Well, I saw some big titty pastel goth girls on the front. I thought that was awesome. I saw the font for the word Calico. It was a very cute cat font. And then I read, oh, you get to make a cat cafe in this town. I heard there were clothes and they were decorating. And like by then my brain is on fire. I'm like, yeah, Joe, I want this game. I'm like drooling out of the side of my mouth. But you can also make, oh man, I accidentally messed up my notes here. Give me 1 second.
No.
Okay, you're right. I'm back in. But I also saw that it was a cooking game. I freaking love cooking games.
You could have all the time you need, by the way.
You got me on track. No, you did it, bud. Nah, I literally copy and pasted wrong in my notes here and had to speed ahead. But yeah, I love cooking games. And when they're dessert-centric, when they're pastry and bakery-centric, I mean, y'all know me, my brain is exploding. I was very satisfied by the cooking game, but it was also super weird, the cooking mini game. So let's talk about how you cook in this game. Are y'all familiar with the old classic movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Pernell. This isn't a story for now, but did I ever tell y'all about the time I met Michael Cera and I tried to pitch him that movie as if it wasn't already made?
No, I've never heard that story.
I don't want to take up too much time, but please remind me to tell that in our pre-show banter next week because I would love to. But I haven't.
I'll message you when this is over.
Okay, sounds good. You're gonna have to hear it again on Tuesday, but I'll do an impression of myself. It'll be nice. It's actually a really painful story. It doesn't end well for me. So yeah, tune in next week, please, to hear this. But yeah, so the cooking is kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. When you're learning how to cook, the sexy cat lady, who is the mayor, by the way, is like, hey, cooking's a little different around here. We use the old world magic in this town. And what she means by that is when you cook, you go into the kitchen and then you are magically shrunk down until you're even smaller than the size of any of your ingredients. And then you walk around in your little open world obstacle course kitchen, and you're timed while you need to collect ingredients one by one and then add them to whatever you're cooking. There's different, what do you call them, like springboard seesaws that will catapult you to different shelves in the kitchen. So it's almost got like some timed platformer physics simulator stuff going on in it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't know that going in, because I may not have looked forward to that, but I ended up finding it completely fun. And I thought it was really well done, clever, and just really funny and interesting, and yeah, fun to run through the obstacle course. If you're making cookies, I don't know about all cookies, but sometimes the ingredients go into like a bubbling magical cauldron that shows up, and you got to collect them and pour them in. A different cookie recipe may have you bake the cookies in an oven, and the oven is a lot like Quiznos sandwich ovens, where it needs to go back and forth on a conveyor belt until it's cooked. Well, how do you power that conveyor belt? Is it a button? No. You need to get on your hamster wheel that is attached to the oven and run on it until the cookies are done. You might have to send them back through, or you're going to have to run out of the hamster wheel, jump back in it at the opposite direction to get it to pull through the oven again. If you're icing cookies, hey, all those cookies are way bigger than you, bro. How are you going to put little cute cat icing faces on the cookies and makes them look like adorable little kitty cat faces? Well, you have a handy dandy icing pogo stick. You're going to need to ride all over those cookies until they're decorated. Sounds weird, but I honestly freaking loved it. I thought it was just super fun and just so, if I may, unique. And there's plenty of unique, thank you. And there's plenty of unique mechanics out there that games have that aren't fun, that they kind of have for the sake of being unique. But I think that this is not only original and fun, thank you, but it works really well too. So yeah, once you make the food, that batch of food is just there. You don't need to serve it to your cafe customers, because the cafe itself, outside of making the food, is autonomous. You're going to decorate the cafe, and you're going to cook sometimes, and that's going to put your inventory levels at par, and you won't run out of cookies and coffee and stuff for a while. Magical girls, and maybe even their dads sometimes, will visit and buy your snacks while you're gone, or while you're still in there if you want to hang out, but you don't have to serve them. All you need to do for your cafe is decorate it if you want, make food to stock your kitchen, and collect new fun recipes as you go by exploring the world around you, fulfilling quests from the townsfolk. Also, just talking to them and hanging out with them can get you recipes, patterns for clothing or furniture, you name it. Speaking of furniture and the act/art of decorating this game, it's so lit. It's really good. You have tons of furniture options and more freedom to decorate just like you like it on a little invisible grid in your cafe than, say, Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley is going to give you, because of our 3D open world graphics we're using here. They even give you a little starter set of furniture to set you out, because that furniture is that you end up with organically after the game begins is somewhat going to depend and branch out on what you do next or who you talk to. So you may not end up with the same exact types of furniture as your friend on a run in this game. And when they do give you the starter furniture, by the way, the person giving you the furniture is a sexy, thick cat girl mare with big old cat ears poking out of some pink hair. She got like a mini skirt. I'm going to cut myself off here, but she's pretty cool. She gives you 3 choices. Cute, spooky, or rad. What's your first furniture you want to get? They don't give you any other information than that. I sat there for a long time before I made my choice between cute, spooky, or rad. This wasn't fair, because I can't imagine any words that could fit me more. How was I to pick between the 3 sides of my very soul? Just kidding. I picked cute. I picked cute to be a basic B, and I'm so glad I did, because can anyone here guess what the theme of the furniture I got when I picked the cute style was? Just one guess.
No clue.
It's bunny furniture. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So I thought that this game would only have cat-themed stuff. So while we're here, let's say it's not just cats. You got dogs, you got bunnies, you got all kinds of crazy animals that I don't want to like spoil for you that can come live in your cafe. But most importantly, if you pick cute furniture, they're giving you the bunny furniture first. Like the chairs have bunny ears, the little couch has bunny ears too. You can rotate them around. As soon as this happened to me in the game, first of all, I just started crying with happiness. Second of all, I picked up my review notes and I wrote the word buy it. And then I wrote the word unique. Just kidding. Sorry. I challenged myself to use unique a lot. I kept thinking that as I played this game. Hey, yeah, let me wrap this up here. I know I'm going a little long. You can even do latte art. This is almost like a MS Paint thing. Recipes are timed. You don't not make the recipe. It just affects your finished product score. But if you do find the cooking too difficult and you don't want to participate in that part of the game because it is different than the other parts of the game, you can click a finish for me button and you just won't get a bonus to the food you make, but you can get your par levels up that way. You can blow up a cat. So that sounded really wrong. You can make a cat giant. and then you can ride that cat. Any cat or animal can be chosen, and that can become your loyal steed. You can also collect animals for your cafe. You can pick them up. You can store them on your head. So you can have one cat on your head, and then you're holding a dog, and you're holding him upside down. You have the option to pet him. You got the option to wiggle him. It's pretty sweet. I did see someone on Twitter compare this game to Animal Crossing. While I ain't coming for blood on this one, since there's no blood in this game, this is a cozy game, I gotta kind of disagree. I find this game to be much more open world, just a bigger game and more explory and more of a game than something like Animal Crossing. And y'all know me, I love that game. I have at least 1,000 hours in every version of that game that has come out. But you're not just walking around and looking at people and talking to people once a day and maybe in 3 years, we get a farming and cooking update. This is a game. Cooking is cute and hilarious, but it's also challenging. The open world is a big-ass open world. It will take you like 2 minutes to walk from the cafe to the middle of town, which is fine because you're seeing beautiful pink trees on the way. It starts out feeling a little bit empty, but like any good community building social sim game, a lot of it's going to be filled out, and I was very impressed by how big this game is. So let's talk depth of the game too. The world is giant. But there's also all kinds of new areas to discover as you advance the plot. Let's talk about socialization too. For the price point here, I'm very happy with the NPC's dialogue and relationship building. Do I wish there was a little more NPC dialogue and relationship building? Sure, I'm always going to want that. I want way more than Animal Crossing gives me in that. I want more from Stardew Valley, which I think is one of the best. I want more from Rune Factory, which I feel gives us a lot. We're always going to want more. I do think that what this game offers in that respect is more than fair for the price. I think you will be, if you have experience with these games, you'll be delighted by the amount it does have. These characters are fun, inclusive as fuck, and both real and magical to me. And I just find the dialogue interesting and fun to read. And as much as I love all the games in this little subgenre, I'm not always looking forward to what Mayor Lewis is going to say in Stardew Valley every day. Some of it gets a little droll, gets a little boring. This game has definitely got a lot of personality, and each character has a personality too. So before I wrap this up, let's talk about what isn't exceptional about this game and what a lot of people do not love about it. For me, this is mostly just one thing, and the rest of the game wins me over to a point where I don't care. Well, let's talk about it because it's a big deal, and if you read any other reviews of this game, you're going to be reading about this. The 3D graphics. It's just kind of buggy, and I don't know if buggy is even the right word here because it feels like they definitely know what's up with the graphics and just had priorities with this game and a budget. And while the game has a really, really strong artistic and aesthetic kawaii aesthetic with pink trees and bunny furniture and stuff, it does feel a little unfinished graphics-wise, just in the respect that, like, if you're in a building and you're going to look around and move the joystick around so you can do, like, a 360 view, furniture and stuff is just going to stick through the walls. It's just going to happen. The staircase might disappear for a minute as we change the view. If you're near an item, you and the item are going to combine, and it's going to kind of stick out of the art. If two NPCs walk on top of each other, it's going to look a little messy. I don't really know how to describe this super well, but I feel like y'all know what I'm talking about. It's something that they dig but older Bethesda games on a lot. Like, the graphics just kind of don't account for each other and don't overlap correctly. I don't mind this a lot, but I saw a lot of people dinging it. Mechanics, while I find the game gives you a lot of freedom and beats the crap out of other, like, open world, quote unquote, cozy games and what you can do and the jumping and the exploring, it gives you a lot of freedom. And you're supposed to jump around and take shortcuts. There's no fall damage. And the only other thing I didn't really love about this game that I honestly wish was different, and I would love to see changed in an update, the tutorial and any time that the game's teaching you something new. Even character creation itself, I just feel like it needs a bit more playtesting and feedback when the game is teaching stuff. Sometimes that stuff just isn't very clear to me, or I don't realize all the options I have, or I won't realize until way later past the tutorial when I'm on, like, several days into the game that I was actually getting something wrong or missing, like, a big feature that the game was trying to give me. Sorry, that's my medication alarm. Let me mute that. Just think that could use a little work. I'd love to see that tweaked in an update, although I realize this game initially came out not for PS5, which we're reviewing it for, but initially came out in 2020, so that would be a pretty late update. Despite that, I should let Joe ask me about rating before I launch into this last paragraph.
All right, well, the game clocks in at $11.99. What are your thoughts on Calico?
Despite everything I've said, I hope that if any part of this game sounds good to you, appeals to you, you do scoop it up, because I think we're looking at, what, $11.99 here?
Yep.
I think this is a steal if you like this vibe and you think it's going to give you more than enough gameplay and exploration and sense of wonder and cuteness than you could ever expect at this price point. I paid a fair amount of $40 for a fair amount of games I hope are going to give me this much fun and this much coziness and style, and I think this really hits the mark. The game isn't perfect, but I find it to be a highly adorable work of art. I really, really, really have been fun playing in, and I definitely going to continue playing. And now that I hear that 2 people made this game, that just makes a million times more sense to me. The creators of this game had priorities. They wanted to do it by themselves, and considering that, they got a lot done. It's beautiful. It's cohesive. If any of it appeals to you, please try this.
Cool. Thimber gives it their seal of approval as well in chat.
Yeah, so. Thimber, what up?
Also me, because I reviewed it like a year ago.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was back when.
Up. How did you feel about it, dude? I guess you liked it.
Pretty much the same. Yeah.
Nice.
It was a lot buggier when I played it, though. I have the Switch version, and I literally couldn't progress past a certain point of the game because it didn't there was an obstacle that was supposed to be removed and wasn't.
Oh no! So. Dang it! I hear that. I hear that when they upgraded to 1.4 version, a lot of bugs and stuff were eradicated.
My review was just before that. So.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have to play it in that state. But I did hear some stories about that. I'm gonna go back and listen to your review, man. Did Catherine play it? Seems like it would be up her alley.
Don't think so. No, but I don't know. She might have bought it. I don't really remember. It was a while ago now, but yeah, I felt good about it. Like I said, it was just the bugs that bothered me, but yeah, I brought up a lot of the same points, I think.
It was way back on episode 643, if anyone wants to check that out. That was Chris and Cole doing that review.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
That was a year-end review, or a year-end episode, too.
Oh, wow.
I think there's only like three reviews on that episode, something like that. But anyway, that is it for you, Brooke. Are you sticking around or are you heading out?
I'm going to hang out.
Cool.
I'll stick around.
Sounds good. If you stick around long enough, maybe we'll hear that story at the end.
Let me do it at the beginning next time. It'll be cool.
Next game to talk about is Knuckle Sandwich, developed by Andy Brophy, published by Andy Brophy, and SuperHot Presents. Released November 22nd on Steam for $19.99. Knuckle Sandwich is a turn-based RPG by Andy Brophy. Get a job, beat up some monsters, and solve a mystery that's plaguing Bright City. Pernell, what is Knuckle Sandwich?
I was hoping going to say, solve a mystery by Andy Brophy. But full disclosure, this is probably one of my more anticipated games for this year. I saw one of those stealth trailers that popped up, probably was on Facebook or something, and I was immediately enamored with it. If you look at any screen art, you'll probably guess why. And I will say that I came away from this game feeling pretty good and also learning more about it than I even realized from the trailers. So right off the cuff, how I'm going to describe this game is a very strange RPG that is pretty much an RPG if WarioWare was just dumped all over it and then blended in a nice mixer where you mash A frequently and you dispense a great groovy game. So the premise for this game is hard to even convey because it's a strange game. Your main character is new to a town. He wants to find a job. Weird stuff happens at this job, resulting in him going on a weird mission where he discovers he's something referred to as an anomaly. He's working with a man who works for the Goblin Institute. He's teaming up with his co-workers to solve mysteries in Bright City, just like you described in the description. But it's broken up into sections referred to as chapters. Early on, they kind of start you off in a small note where they kind of streamline you to different things. But eventually, you gain access to explore the city by choosing locations on the map and going around and checking things out that way, too. But as you progress through the game, you will ultimately, frequently engage in turn-based battles. And when these battles happen, whether you're attacking or defending, you'll be pressing buttons in time to something. Let's say, for example, you do just your basic attack. Asking me a phrase, I'll start over. Let's say you're defending against a regular enemy's attack. That enemy will approach you. You have a window where he's doing a slight animation, and eventually he's going to attack you. And if you press the button at the right time, you can dodge that attack and not take any damage. Every other attack is more elaborate than that, including your own. If you do your basic attack, it starts out simple. You're just okay, well, here's a bar. Think like a Mario, like a golf game. You press the button, the cursor goes across it. You're trying to hit the sweet spot within another moving bar within that. And if you hit the sweet spot, you'll get critical damage. But if you hit on the left or right side of the sweet spot while it's moving along, you'll get minimum or maximum damage that's not critical. But the game, as you progress, throws monkey wrenches into even that. I had no idea there can be so many different ways to time an A button press that this game gives you. It starts out with just being a single bar, then it becomes... I don't even want to spoil it because I thought it was kind of cool every time the game told me, oh, wow, now you got chain combo attacks. Like, oh, okay, that's cool. But just know it does not end as it starts. And you will be changing it up a lot. And then you do special moves because all the special moves are straight up WarioWare games. My favorite one by far so far is a character where our attack is called tennis. And when you do the attack, you're basically playing racket attack. There's a ball feeder shooting tennis balls across the screen, and you got to run left to right, hit as many tennis balls as you can in a window of time. And the more tennis balls you hit, the more damage you do to the enemies on the other side of the screen. Enemies, when they attack you with their special attacks, are also mini games. You'll fight a slime monster that does an attack where, in order to avoid taking damage, you have to hit the button at the right time to send the ball, a golf ball, to the cup in hopes of getting a hole in one. And if you don't get them hole in one, you take damage. If you perfect the mini game, it's considered as countering the attack, and the enemy takes damage instead of you. And when you get to certain boss fights, you're going to almost need that because it could be a battle of attrition, and you need to take as little damage as you can to hold on tight for this whole thing. Honestly, I thought initially that I'd probably find myself getting bored of doing the same mini games over and over again, depending on the attack. Like every once in a while, like, for example, it's like a skeleton enemy that has like a shmup, and you have to like destroy the shmup target before the timer runs up, or it destroys you. And every time he does that special attack, whenever you fight a skeleton, you have to play that little shmup mini game. I never got tired of it. I never got tired of any of the mini games, even the ones that weren't as fun as the others. And if you do manage to succeed on an enemy's special attack and complete it with a perfect counter, the next time an enemy does it, it's a harder version of that. So just like how in WarioWare it'll go speed up and it gets harder and harder, the enemy special attacks in this game progressively get more difficult and challenging also. And I love it. I love that. I love the ridiculously quirky humor. I love the way they don't even tell the story in a traditional manner. You might be in a dialogue scene where you're like standing in a corner, you're talking to a character, the character's talking to you, and then they just teleport to another area of the same room to continue the conversation, and you're asking yourself, did he teleport there? Or did the game just do a funky mechanic where he just like speed modded him over there? Like, oh, he totally walked there, but just speed this up. It's interesting how they do that. Also, they'll occasionally go from like traditional, like, you know, the sprites that you see in most screen art to like these really weird, more realistic portrayals of the characters that are having like serious conversations. There's a lot going on with this game in a way that I feel is very appealing to me. It's not a particularly lengthy, it's not a long game, but what you are playing is fantastic. I am glad that I was able to talk about this game on a show because it gives me an opportunity to tell people that it's worth buying instead of me just playing it myself. Because I would have bought this anyway. Yeah, I do this all the time with games I like, but I'm saying it here too. I would say, if anything, the two gripes I really have about the game are a typical one for a lot of RPGs, which is that you have to hold down a button to run, but you're never really going to want to walk. So please
just been
go
the
on a patch or
speed.
something. Yes. Please send an update that lets you add an option to the option screen that just says toggle run with the button. That would be awesome. And the other thing, inventory management will drive you crazy at times. Your character can only hold like 6 items. If you get another party member, they can also hold about 6 items. But the weapon that you equip and the accessory that you equip also take up inventory spaces even after you've equipped them. So your inventory will fill up pretty fast. You are able to access like a Pokemon-esque PC to store and withdraw items. But even still, you will absolutely find yourself in scenarios where you're like, man, I got to drink this cola just so I can make inventory space because I want to pick up that thing. Yeah, you can toss it, but you don't want to toss it. You want to use it. You found it, right? So that will happen and you will be annoyed. But other than that, yeah, I think this game is legit. It was a really nice surprise to see it pop up on a trailer, and now I got to play it. I am glad. It was a great final, well, not final because Tevi comes out soon, but soon, like second to last surprise of 2023. So,
oh, it costs $19.99. What is your verdict?
Absolutely worth a buy. This game is great.
Cool.
Doesn't like quirky things. Quirky.
Looks very Earthbound inspired.
I don't doubt that in the slightest. I think it was. That's what I was referring to when I said if you've seen screenshots, you'll probably know what drew me to it. And then it was exactly that. It looks very much like Mother 3 more so.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Next game is Alina of the Arena, developed by PINIX Games and published by DANGEN Entertainment and PINIX Games. Released November 23rd on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, and PS5 for $14.99. A roguelike deck-building tactical game that combines elements from Slay the Spire and Into the Breach. Plays a gladiator to survive with deck-building, roguelite, and hex-based tactics. No longer bound by simple attack and defense. Make use of dodges and knockbacks to stay alive. Chris, you tell us about Alina of the Arena, and I'm going to go check on what the hell noise my cats are making.
Okay, great. All right, so, yeah, Alina of the Arena is a... this is a what you could call a deck builder game. So you pick up, cards and play them as your turns in a turn-based kind of tactical combat sort of deal. So this is normally a genre I kind of shy away from because I don't know, something about cards I'm just like, whatever. But yeah, this one actually looked really cool, and I'm glad to say that that my instincts were right on this one. So yeah, basically you start a run. Your one character is Alina. However, you can pick her kind of job, kind of like a job system, which is basically going to determine like her skills and stats and things like that. So, you start off as slave, but then you end up, unlocking like hunter and warrior, and then eventually some other jobs as well. And of course they're all conditional. Everything about this game is about, repetition and kind of building from, different playthroughs. However, there's not a lot of permanent stuff that you can really unlock or anything. It's just more or less like unlocking more jobs, through, which give you kind of a better chance at surviving the first, few worlds. But yeah, basically once you pick your character, it then takes you to a 3 rows of cards, and those cards, you basically have to defeat a certain amount of, you have to beat a certain amount of fights in order to challenge the champion, who is like the boss of the playing field. So the way that you select that is that you choose from one of the 3 rows of cards, and you know what all the cards are, so you can kind of see your path. It's not like they're random or anything. I mean, they are random, but you can see what they are. And yeah, it'll have something like fight. So if you pick a fight card, then you get into a fight and per chance to win. And if you get like a shop card, then that gives you a chance to go in and buy like a new card or a new weapon. You have 2 hands, and so you can either have, a 2-handed weapon or 2 one-handed weapons, or like a weapon and a shield. I suppose 2 shields if you really want to be weird. But yeah, anyway, and then the shop also, you can purchase like basically cards, which are your moves, and then weapons, which determine like your stats, and they also have like special powers. Then you can do things like, do like an event where you basically do a multiple choice kind of thing. Usually involves sacrificing one thing to get another. But yeah, it really comes down to the combat. Again, these are required to progress the game. Everything else is just kind of for building up your character. Once you get into the fight, it puts you on a grid, kind of a hex grid, and your character draws like a whole bunch of cards, and those cards are going to determine your moves. One move that is always there, unless there's some class that removes it, I don't know, is initiative. So the initiative allows you to move 1 square. If you don't play the initiative as your first move, then you don't get to use it. You don't get to move at all. Which, depending on your class, may not be a bad thing. Again, the hunter is an archer, so you do actually spend a lot of time either going away from enemies or shooting them from a distance. So you're pretty good there. But each card will have, a lot of this is going to be pretty familiar to folks who play deck builder, especially RPGs and stuff. But basically, each card is going to have a number on it in the upper left corner that tells you how many units of energy it's going to take to do that.
Units. Wait, sorry.
Unit. Yeah. So, like 1 unit for an attack, and you have, 3 total per turn, right? So you can do 3 attacks. You could do an attack and a defense. It just depends on what draw, what the cards draw. Now, some of them will have a 0. These are either like bonus modifiers that you can use, and they're free again. And it's a use it or lose it kind of thing. Once you draw your hand for that turn, it doesn't matter which cards you use. They're all going to get shuffled again at the next turn. So unless you have a special card that lets you do this, you can't like hold on to cards and like wait for a better hand. You're just gonna play your best with what you got. The game's really good at making this intuitive. If you press Y on anything, it will give you a detailed description of it. It'll kind of let you know. And like any deck builder game, it gets complicated. Sometimes more complicated than I like. And this is why I shy away from deck builders. But again, this one I think toes the line perfectly as far as that goes. So, sorry. The other thing is that, like I said, with the battles, your character has a persistent life bar that, you don't gain any life back at the end of a fight. So you actually do have to kind of balance your kind of pathway, your Mortal Kombat-esque, going up the lines of cards, to make sure that there's a rest, that, if there's a rest, you want to try and work yourself towards it, because a rest will let you heal like 45 units of health. And to put that in perspective, a warrior, which is considered a tank, has only 80 health. Anyway, all of this to say, you get eventually up to a boss. And if you can beat the boss through, clever strategy, again, lots of, my preferred, I'll get to that. But yeah, basically once you get through the boss, then you get to move on to the next set. It repeats and the bosses get harder until you just absolutely die at the end of the second boss. I've yet to beat that boss. It throws 2 bosses after me, and they're just such huge tanks. But whatever. So yeah, like at first when I was playing this, I was having a lot of trouble. I was playing as I played the slave character. Wasn't doing enough damage. The hunter character is too much of a, just wasn't doing enough damage and was not taking the hits. And I was just like, I can get through the first champion just fine, but I just can't make my way through. Like, there's some element of growth that I'm not like seeing here. And it really did turn out to be things like, I wasn't paying attention to the huge UI that surrounds the battlefield. For instance, like when you have a weapon equipped, you're using that weapon, it has a power level that affects your attack cards, of course, and same thing with a defense card. If you have a shield, those augment each other. But sometimes your weapon will have its own special move that you have a limited amount of uses for per battle. And I wasn't taking advantage of that, because you have to push like the ZL or ZR button, and they're just these, just toggles them on or off. And there's just a lot of things like that the game kind of doesn't really point out. Like, you really have to pay attention to like all these icons and stuff. To me, it all looks like a mobile game. And so I picked up the Switch and found out that it does not have any touchscreen capability. So I'm like, why is this like this? Like, why does, it's arrayed in like in an icon like based thing, like some kind of Android app, but it's like, yeah, I can't touch it, so I can only use my hotkeys and like, pushing down on my R stick for like consumable items or something like that. It's just like all kinds of confusing stuff. But once you get used to it and get into the flow of it, you're just going to keep hitting start on a new campaign. And a campaign will last a long time, especially if you're able to get past the first champion, because that's like 6 battles right there. And then, 4 battles in the next level to get to that champion. And, if you keep challenging it, you're going to keep unlocking stuff. And then you unlock stuff and you want to play through it. Anytime you go to, like, battles are sometimes just regular fights, but sometimes they're elite fights against these special monsters that come up. And they're a little harder, but if you got a good loadout, which we'll get to in a second about the loadout, you can beat them and then unlock a new card that's going to show up in the regular rotation. And again, after you beat every battle, you get to pick another card to have. And so you kind of, again, it's a deck builder. So you're building up like your style of fighting. I like to do really, really, really heavy damage. I don't really care about stat, like, degens or anything like that. And of course, anything that can heal me, because God, that HP is precious in this game. But yeah, like I said, so every time you beat I think it's every time you kill a champion, you get 2 special coins to spend. You might get more at the second champion. I don't know, because I have not beaten that guy yet. But when you get these special coins, and also if you have regular coins at the end of your run and you die, those get added into a pool as well that will eventually purchase, get you more of these coins too. But these coins can be used to purchase like a nice weapon, a nice card, something really good right at the start of a new run, and can only be used at the start of a new run. So these aren't things that you can just collect and then, eventually purchase yourself like a permanent loadout that's like really awesome. So every time that you play this game, you're influencing the next time you play the game, and that therein lies the addiction route. And you can even... Yeah, exactly. That's how they get you. And even then, if you're just not feeling it, you can abandon a campaign and it'll still tally up all the stuff you did. And it'll even count towards things like, if you just give up on a quest, if you have a character that's unlocked through multiple game sessions, which there are some. There's one that I'm about to unlock because it's at 11 playthroughs, and I'm kind of almost there. But anyways... if you just abandon a quest, you can just crack those things open if you want, but I'm kind of just playing it as normal. I just thought that was amusing to look at. But yeah, graphics are, I think, pretty nice. Like it's definitely like 16-bit style, but the cards are nice and detailed. Like I said, the descriptions when you use them and you're like paying attention are very good. It's, not too difficult to understand what's going on. It's kind of hard to get lost. Definitely good to pick up and play. Like I said, I started with like the hunter, and I was just like, I'm not digging any of these strategic moves that I've got here, but I didn't quite understand what everything did. And then I unlocked the warrior, and that's where I started rocking and rolling. I usually don't even go for melee characters as much, but yeah, the muscular version of Alina is definitely like kind of like the good beginner's mode. So it's weird that you have to play through 3 times to unlock a warrior, and the warrior is like the one that you learn with. So yeah. I like it though. Like, it's pretty cool.
Well, it clocks in at $14.99. What are your thoughts on Alina of the Arena?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a buy it. Lots of care went into this one. It appeals to folks who generally are not into deck builders, which is me. So, this is like the one deck builder in like 10 that I've looked at and been like, oh yeah, I actually can play that. And I was not wrong, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, this is a good one to get you into the genre if you want to get into it. But of course, most people don't get into it as a genre. They just end up falling into one and then getting hooked. So if that's what you're looking to do, this is a good game to do it with. So this is a buy it from me all around.
Cool. Sounds good. Next game is Worldless, developed by Noname Studios, published by Coatsink and Thunderful, released November 21st on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $19.99. Worldless is a stylized 2D platformer with a unique active turn-based combat system and a mind-bending interpretive narrative. Players embark on a journey of self-growth and understanding, pushing the limits of their nature in a newly born and abstract universe. Pernell, what is going on in Worldless?
I'm going to point this out right now. If that's what they gave you for the narrative, that's all we're given, because I'm not going to try to describe what the hell's going on in this game. So, there it is. That's what you get. You'll figure it out yourself. But what about the game itself? Is the game fun? Is it anything? Well, I think the game is great. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. But what the hell is it exactly? Well, it is no, it's not a Metroid. Screw that. I'm not taking that for crap. It is an action adventure platformer game where you control what I can refer to as a celestial being that is exploring a celestial void of sorts, interconnected celestial void. And this exploration takes place as you going from zone to zone, tracking down what looks to be a counterpoint of what you are, basically like a nega version of that. And as this traversal takes place, you'll explore a map going from region to region, and you can basically explore them as you would a typical adventure platformer. You start out with the ability just to jump, literally just to jump, and also to, I guess, sort of echolocate, which has a variety of different functions depending on like where you're at in the game and what you're trying to do. Like, for example, sometimes it resonates with flowers, which can result in some pickup items. Other times it might allow you to resonate with a pillar that spins you around and launches you. One thing about this game that I do like in that capacity is that it is built around the idea of not really telling you what to do, or even half the time what you can do, so much as it just lets you experience it for yourself. I kid you not. I never quite figured out in some respects what certain items were giving me. Like, it might be like, hey, I found this cool item. Does that mean I can actually access another element of my skill set? Or does that mean I get more health or whatever? I don't freaking know. But whatever, I found it. I'll figure it out later. I don't even care. That's the kind of game this is. But it's so beautiful that the exploration aspect of it is enough to make you go, you know what? I'm just enjoying myself, because I played it. The first time I booted up, I was just like, I don't really feel like I want to play this right now. I'm going to turn it off. I'm not even feeling what the hell's going on. But then the second time I came back to it, something clicked. And when it clicked, I was sold. And that carries over to the combat aspect of the game too, because whereas typically you'd expect to go around and just stumble across a bunch of different enemies that you could fight and then get experience points or whatever, this game doesn't quite do that. Instead, what happens as you're walking around the map, you'll come across enemies on occasion. They're in very set locations on the map. They're not random encounters. They're not enemies that respawn. They are literally deliberately where they're meant to be. And when you see them, you engage in a battle with them. And what is battle in this game? Well, you're on the left, they're on the right. It is turn-based combat, and your goal is to deplete their hit points before they deplete yours, with the exception of one case. You have, at the beginning of the game, 2 basic attacks. Now, you will expand out to other things, including things like ice magic and, archery. But you are attempting to reduce their hit points by initially breaking down their defenses. And their defenses can be made up of various elements that are associated with attacks. So, for example, your basic melee might have like a fist icon on the screen. Or your magic attack, when you start out with is lightning, you'll see a lightning bolt icon. And you want to use your skill to break that thing down in the time allotted for your turn, because when it actually is your attack turn, you get a time gauge that pops up. And you want to do what you can before that depletes. If you can break that shield down, the enemy becomes especially vulnerable to additional damage before the timer runs up, and this becomes the enemy's turn to attack you. If you are able to produce enough critical damage and what can be referred to as absorption damage attacks, after you've broken the shell down especially, you'll display a gauge that says, like it's like a little diamond that starts out at 100%, then 200% once the crit's done. Once you get down the critical walls, you'll get to the point where you are able to initiate something called, just a full-on absorption. And when you do that, depending on how high you made the gauge go, that will determine how many of the 4 buttons you have to press in sequence are displayed for you in order to do this. So you'll trigger absorption, a timer will start, you'll see 4 buttons. If you got the gauge up halfway, you'll see like A, B, question mark. So you'll hit A and B, and then you're going to be like mashing any of the 4 face buttons, hoping to figure out which one is the proper button. And if you run out of time, got to get back to it and try to do it again, get them back to that state. But the buttons you figured out the first time don't go away. So if you ultimately find yourself in a series of having to play a guessing game on this front, you will be able to eventually get it, as long as you don't kill the enemy before you get to that point, because that is something that will likely happen more than a few times. Though fortunately, if you do kill an enemy without absorbing them, and I'll tell you why you want to absorb them shortly, the enemy does remain on the map as a re-engageable encounter, and you can go back and try to beat them in the proper way until you succeed at absorbing them. When the enemy attacks you, they attack in a way that is choreographed. So the game has multiple ways of displaying attacks that are coming, such as horizontal horizontal lines, vertical lines, or a star flash. When these things occur, you have to know, okay, this is a magic attack coming, or oh no, this is a physical attack coming, and you have to guard with the proper attack button, whether it's a magic button or the physical shield button. Your shield has a finite lifespan, though, and if you just hold down the shield button, it will be shattered, and you will be a sitting duck toy for a lot of damage. So while you can have occasional moments where you want to kind of just hold it down and just take the blows, your proper way to play is to go about showing for perfect guards, which is hitting the button at just the right time to block the attack while also not depleting your shield's energy. And that is a back and forth dance that will happen for many a battle in this game. Though again, if you happen to lose the battle, you don't die, you don't go back to a checkpoint. It just kicks you out of the battle and you can attempt it again. No muss, no fuss. And frankly, I think that is a very time-respecting, user-friendly approach, especially as you're getting used to how the battle even flows in this game. So, why the hell do you want to go about absorbing them when you can just beat the stuffing out of every enemy in the game? Well, glad you asked. When you absorb an enemy, you take their core. Blue cores for, I don't know, I guess light celestials, that's what I'm going to call them, but I could be wrong. Light celestials, orange cores for dark celestials. And you have a skill upgrade tree that can be utilized to upgrade skills and abilities using those cores. So some need the orange cores, some need the blue cores. So you'll find yourself wanting to go back and catch as many enemies as you can because you want to upgrade your character as best you can. Frankly, like I said, I have no idea what's happening in this game. I don't even know what I'm trying to do or why I'm trying to do it. And I don't care. It's been fun. I enjoy what I'm doing. The atmosphere you're exploring is gorgeous. The music isn't anything to write home about, but it's atmospheric, so I don't think it's meant to be something to write home about. It just gets the job done and keeps you enveloped in the world as you're running around exploring it. Getting new abilities is a lot of fun, too, because they're animated well, and they do feel really good for traversal. If you find yourself walking too slowly, which I did for a while, when you get the dash ability, that will very much change, because you will run fast with that thing. It's great. Quite frankly, I think the game is pretty cool. I think the one real gripe I have with it, which has been driving me crazy, is the fact that I've gotten much more used to it since I started, mind you, but the map in this game takes some serious getting used to. It's laid out like a constellation, celestial bodies and all that, but it's a 2D plane, but the nodes will branch off in different directions, leaving you to wonder which node goes to what location, or rather, what door in the area you're in goes to what location, and when you're actually making that proper traversal or trajectory change. So it can be pretty tough to figure out where you're going and when you enter doors or when you go off the screen or whatever, and you just have to get used to it, because there is a rhyme or reason to it. It just takes some getting used to, and it's not well explained. So that's my only real gripe with the game itself. But other than that, I think it's a lot of fun. It's left up to pure interpretation because, again, whatever. But yeah. I don't think you even need to understand it to enjoy it. It's just meant to be what you make of it.
Well, it clocks in at $19.99. What are your thoughts on Worldless?
It may not sound like it from my word salad over here, but honestly, I feel this is a genuine buy. I don't even feel conflicted in offering that statement. They did a good job with this, and I would say I didn't even hear much about this up until the release of it. It was a very under the radar game. And I hope more people give it a chance because it deserves it.
Cool. All right, we got one final game to talk about tonight that is called Colored Effects, developed by TacSou, published by Flynn's Arcade, released November 23rd on the Switch for $4.99. Colored Effects is a puzzle platformer game with unique handcrafted levels and a simple design. Play in this peaceful environment, solve puzzles, and collect the gems to complete each level. Chris, sounds easy enough. What is it?
It sure is easy. By the way, I said unique, and then I realized I was muted. Anyways,
unique.
Yeah, unique. So yeah, Colored Effects. This is a single room puzzle game kind of deal. It is really tough, but this is actually really creatively done. So you play as this little guy. He's just a little guy. And basically the key to solving a puzzle, winning a room, things like that, is to collect 3, a red, blue, and a yellow gem within a room in order to unlock the 3 doors that are blocking the exit, and got to get to the exit. The way you do this is usually by changing the color of your hero, which gives him a special power. Your little guy with a cape. And so like, sorry, I was just taking a look at something here. So yeah, basically, like for instance, if you step on a blue puddle, your character turns blue and now has a double jump. So of course you get a double jump. If you step on a yellow puddle, your character turns yellow and then can dash through the air. I don't know what the red one does yet, but we're getting there. So yeah, basically, the levels are arranged in such a way that you end up having to, use these powers to get the gems, and they get increasingly tough as you go along. Like, it scales up quite a bit. But the cool thing is, it is a peaceful game. It's got this constant, like, these light clouds rolling by kind of things. Your character moves really smoothly, and, the action is really kind of chill and, and solid. And there's no timer. There's no extra conditions to, get the best. It's not like you get 1 diamond for beating the level, but 3 diamonds if you do it with these impossible conditions. Like, there's no real pressure to that. It's just
good.
It's less of a, it's less of a puzzle platformer actiony type of thing. It's more like a jigsaw puzzle, to be honest. You just spend some time and like really learn it and stuff. Like, actually, while we were doing this podcast, I finally beat one of the levels that had really puzzled me. So I was pretty proud of myself there.
GG.
Because it had, thank you. Because it had to do with pushing a box around onto a moving platform in order to, dash into it without dashing into this laser that like was blocking my way. We blocked the laser with the box instead and just ran into the box. And I won't tell you which level that's a solution for, but you're welcome if you have that in your mind and you go for this one. There's really not much else to this game. Occasionally, there actually are boss fights that you can do that are part of the puzzles. So like that's kind of an element of it. So, every now and then you do have to actually do some combat. Those aren't so bad. I haven't really, come across anything, too ridiculous there.
Well, I know what is kind of ridiculous with this game.
What's kind of ridiculous with this game?
The unique count.
Oh yeah, is it as high as this episode of this show?
The store page has 4 uniques on it.
Amazing.
Yeah, Colored Effects is a puzzle platformer with unique handcrafted levels and a simple design. And then effects are the abilities you use in game. Each effect is unique and distinguishable by its own color. Then one of the headers... Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, how can you describe your game as unique when you have a double jump?
Hey,
magic.
Hey.
One of the headers is just unique bosses. And under that, encounter bosses in between levels. Each boss has unique attacks and requires a different way to defeat it. So, Flynn's Arcade, you got to ease up on the uniques.
Yeah, buddy.
Or double down on it.
Yeah, yes, I was gonna say. I mean, you might. We kind of did that today. So I mean, I'm not gonna fault that strategy. Yeah, that's if you at least know like that it's
to call out when there's a bunch of them on a page. I like to keep track of which ones are good ones.
I kind of introduced that to the show, so I mean, I'm all for it.
You bastard.
But yeah. Having said, I wouldn't say that this game is unique, but it definitely brings a little. So. It brings a little something, and yeah, this is like the first $5 game I think I've reviewed in quite a while, so like that's kind of nice too. But
it's even on sale for the next few days for $4. So if you hear this in time and you want to pick up the game, it's $4. Is it worth it at $5? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is definitely in the fuck it, why not territory. Definitely worth your time. The puzzles are real head scratchers. Again, the boss fights are less fights and more like puzzles, but they do involve some quick action and things like that. But ultimately, this is for the thinkers. This is a thinking crowds kind of game, and I dig it. So I would say, yeah, go ahead and go ahead and make that purchase.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are done with this episode.
All right.
We made it through.
What? Already?
Yeah.
Time for that dentist to wreck my tooth.
I could talk some more about Jurassic Park games.
Speaking of, we could play some music from a Jurassic Park game. Our good friend Posu did a Jurassic Park remix on OC Remix quite a while ago. We could play that.
I mean, yeah, shout outs to, Jonathan Dunn. It's a, classic, like, Commodore 64, like, English composer. Really, he worked with Ocean very closely. So on the NES and Game Boy and even the Super NES, I think, games, he had a hand in all of their soundtracks. And they're very good. So, I cannot, I would say kudos to him for providing on that front. No John Williams to be heard in these soundtracks. I don't think a single one of them has any reference to the movies. And why would they? I mean, these, again, were kind of, built alongside the movie, so.
Yeah.
But anyway. There you go.
Anyway, again, that is it for this episode. Does anyone have any final words to wrap this up?
I want
to hear Pernell's words.
All right,
I don't have any words.
It's on you.
I was going to say, go ride the Velocicoaster at freaking Universal Studios. It's a freaking great time and thematic to the episode.
Whee! Roller coaster.
That's why I actually was able to ride it. That's why I rode last week. So it was pretty funny time. I was like, oh, yeah, I just rode this cool roller coaster, the Velocicoaster. Wait a minute, we're talking about Jurassic Park this week. Wow,
you know what would have
Jurassic Park in years, and here it is on the show at the same time.
You know what would have really, really knocked this one out of the park, as it were, if they would have included the point-and-click game from Sega CD.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, it's the Jurassic Park Sega CD game is like a point and click. It's the same thing. You're going around picking up MacGuffins, trying to power down the island or whatever, power up the island. Let's see.
There you go, Limited Run. Get on that shit. Jurassic Park Classic Collection 2.
Come on, if you did, if you did Night Trap, you can do Jurassic Park Sega CD. I don't know that they can do it actually though, because it actually does feature like Jeff Goldblum and some other actors from it. In fact, I don't think it was this one, but there was a Lost World, I think. Hang on. I can see right here. It was a PC game. Okay, so the 1997 Jurassic Park game, The Lost World Jurassic Park, that's it. So it's the sequel. If you did like 100% of the content in the game, Jeff Goldblum will literally come out and tell you to touch grass. He'll be like... Here's the little Reddit post about it if you want to see it. But he comes out and he's just like, go outside and go meet people, go take a shower or something like that. And he like basically makes fun of you for completing the game. And
that's like a cool Easter egg.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And of course, he's in character as Ian Malcolm. It's not just Jeff Goldblum coming out. It would be kind of great though if he was like, I'm the actor Jeff Goldblum.
I'm Jeff Goldblum.
I'm Jeff Goldblum. Stop playing this game.
Yeah, just for God's sakes.
Hi, I'm Jeff Goldblum. End this fucking podcast.
Oh, I thought we had ended.
No, now it did.